The Social War was one of the most important and dangerous wars in the history of ancient Rome. It was fought between Rome and its Italian allies from 91 BCE to 88 BCE. The word social comes from the Latin word soci, which means allies, not society in the modern sense. This war did not happen because of foreign enemies like Carthage or Greece, but because of Rome's own allies, who had lived and fought beside Rome for many generations. The Social War changed the Roman Republic forever and played a major role in shaping the future Roman Empire. To understand the Social War, we must first understand how Rome ruled Italy. Rome did not rule Italy as one single nation. Instead, it controlled Italy through a system of alliances. Some cities were Roman colonies with full Roman citizenship, while others were allied states. These allied states were expected to provide soldiers, pay taxes, and support Rome in wars. In return, they were promised protection and respect for their local laws. However, most of these allies did not have Roman citizenship, which meant they had no vote in Roman politics and no legal protection under Roman law. For many years, this system worked. Rome expanded across Italy and later across the Mediterranean world. Italian allies fought bravely in Rome's wars against enemies such as the Samnites, Paris, Carthage, and Macedonia. In fact, a large part of the Roman army was made up of Italian allies, not Roman citizens. They fought, bled, and died for Rome, often more than the Romans themselves. Over time, this created a strong sense of unfairness. As Rome became richer and more powerful, the problems grew worse. Roman citizens enjoyed land, wealth, political power, and legal rights. The Italian allies, even though they were culturally similar to Romans and lived very close to Rome, were treated as second-class people. They paid taxes and fought in wars, but they had no voice in government. If they were treated unfairly by Roman officials, they had little legal protection. This caused anger, frustration, and resentment across Italy. One major issue was land. After Rome conquered new territories, land was often distributed to Roman citizens, especially wealthy senators and generals. Italian allies rarely benefited from this land distribution. Many small farmers, both Roman and Italian, lost their land and became poor. But Roman citizens at least had some political rights, while Italian allies had none. This made the allies feel deeply betrayed. Over time, some Roman leaders understood that the system was unjust and dangerous. They believed that granting Roman citizenship to Italian allies would solve many problems. Citizenship would give the allies voting rights, legal protection, and a sense of belonging. However, many Roman politicians strongly opposed this idea. They feared that giving citizenship to millions of Italians would reduce the power of traditional Roman voters and elites. As a result, every serious attempt at reform failed. The most important reformer before the Social War was Marcus Livius Drusus, a Roman tribune in 91 BCE. Drusus proposed a series of reforms, including giving Roman citizenship to the Italian allies. He believed that this was the only way to keep peace in Italy. Many Italian leaders supported him and believed that change was finally coming. However, Drusus faced strong opposition from the Roman Senate. Before his reforms could be carried out, Drusus was assassinated. The murder of Drusus was the spark that ignited the Social War. The Italian allies saw this as final proof that Rome would never treat them as equals. They had tried peaceful methods for decades, and now even their strongest supporter had been killed. Anger turned into rebellion. Many Italian communities decided that the only solution was to fight Rome. In 91 BCE, several Italian peoples rose up against Rome. The most important groups included the Samnites, Marsi, Peligni, Lucani, and Picentas. These groups had long military traditions and were experienced soldiers. They formed a united alliance and even created their own separate state, which they named Italia. This was a powerful symbolic act. It showed that they did not want to destroy Rome, but wanted equality within a shared Italian identity. The rebel state of Italia had its own capital city, Corfinium, which they renamed Italica. They created a senate, elected leaders, and even minted their own coins. Some of these coins showed a bull symbolizing Italian strength, defeating the Roman wolf. This shows how serious and organized the rebellion was. The allies were no longer asking for rights, they were demanding them by force. The Social War was extremely brutal and costly. Both sides used large armies made up of experienced soldiers. Because the rebels had learned Roman military tactics from years of service, they fought very effectively. In the early stages of the war, Rome suffered several major defeats. Many Roman commanders were killed, and large areas of Italy fell under rebel control. For a moment, it seemed possible that Rome might lose its control over Italy completely. Rome responded by mobilizing all its resources. New armies were raised, and experienced generals were sent to fight. Among these generals were Gaius Marius, a famous hero of earlier wars, and Lucius Cornelius Sulla, who would later become dictator of Rome. These men played important roles in turning the tide of the war. As the war continued, Rome realized that it could not win by force alone. Fighting all of Italy was too costly and dangerous. Therefore, Rome decided to use a political solution alongside military action. In 90 BCE, Rome passed the Lex Julia, a law that offered Roman citizenship to any Italian community that had not rebelled or that would stop fighting immediately. This was a turning point in the war. Many Italian communities accepted the offer and laid down their arms. They had never wanted independence. They wanted citizenship and equality. Rome later passed additional laws, such as the Lex Placia Papiria, which allowed individual Italians to gain citizenship if they registered with Roman officials. These laws slowly weakened the rebel alliance. However, some groups, especially the Samnites and Lucani, continued to fight fiercely. They deeply hated Rome and had been its enemies for centuries. The war continued until 88 BCE, but by this time Rome had regained control of most of Italy. The remaining resistance was crushed by Roman armies led by Sulla. In military terms, Rome won the social war. The rebel state of Italia was destroyed, and Rome remained the dominant power in Italy. However, in political terms, the Italian allies achieved their main goal. Rome granted Roman citizenship to almost all free Italians south of the Po River. This was one of the most important changes in Roman history. The granting of citizenship transformed the Roman Republic. Italy was no longer divided into citizens and allies. Instead, Italy became a single political community under Roman law. This greatly increased the number of Roman citizens and changed how elections, the army, and government worked. Rome became less of a city-state and more of a national state. The social war also had major effects on the Roman army. Because all Italians were now citizens, the army became more unified. Soldiers felt stronger loyalty to Rome, but also to their generals, who promised rewards and protection. This growing personal loyalty to generals like Sulla and Marius later contributed to civil wars that destroyed the Republic. Politically, the social war weakened the authority of the Roman Senate. The Senate had resisted reform for too long and nearly caused the destruction of Rome. Many people lost trust in traditional institutions. This created opportunities for strong individuals to take control, leading eventually to dictatorship and empire. Socially, the war caused massive suffering. Hundreds of thousands of people died, entire towns were destroyed, farms were burned, and families were displaced. Italy took many years to recover. Even though citizenship was granted, many Italians still faced poverty and inequality. The promises of equality were not immediately fulfilled. Historically, the social war is important because it shows the dangers of refusing political reform. Rome's allies did not want to destroy Rome. They wanted to belong to it. The war could have been avoided if Rome had granted citizenship earlier. Instead, pride, fear, and political selfishness led to one of the bloodiest conflicts in Roman history. In conclusion, the social war was a tragic but transformative event. It began as a struggle for rights and equality and ended with the creation of a united Italy under Roman citizenship. Although Rome won the war militarily, it was forced to change politically. The social war marked the beginning of the end of the old Roman Republic and helped shape the future Roman world. It remains a powerful lesson about justice, inclusion, and the cost of ignoring the voices of allies.